cloud. All right, Stephanie, here we go.
Welcome to Psyched by MG. This is Mary Grace Randazzo-Ratliff, or MG for short. I've been a psychotherapist in private practice for 32 years now. Guess what, everyone? We all have issues. So it's time to lighten up and move forward. Let's stop letting our crap control us and take control of our crap.
Hey everybody, we're here, we're back. We're gonna talk tonight about arguing effectively. But before we do that, hello Barbara.
Hello MG, how are you?
We're both gonna be doing zombie mode today. I can tell. It's okay if one of us is exhausted and fatigued. We are not allowed to both be exhausted and fatigued.
Well, hey, look, it is what it is, right? It's what, a few days before Christmas? Is it a week? I don't know, how long do we have before Christmas?
1 week.
I just wish it was done already. I'm like, can we just shut this down? I want this year to shut down. I really do. I think this year has just got this 2020 has got some juju on it, some bad juju. I want it to shut down. I want to wake up in 2021 and I don't know, man. The sky had better be pink or something. Something.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
This is scared. I can't. I cannot.
I totally hear you. It is like, come on. And you know, this week for me, of course, whenever it's the week before Christmas, my office is just so full. You know,
right.
I have waitlisted people when I get back. But okay, before we forget, where can you find Psyched by MG? Where can you find African Auntie? And that's the show Barbara does. You can find us on Google Podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Detroit Podcast,
Anchor.
Oh yeah. And I'm on LinkedIn.
Spotify.
Oh my God, how did I forget that?
No, that's why I'm helping you out today, because I'm like, oh God, sister needs help. We gotta help each other, okay? You hold on to me, I'll hold on to you, because at this rate, it's not looking good.
It's not gonna go if we do that. I swear to God. Oh my God, you have me dying already. So yes, you can find us there. Please, we need you to click like and support us so we can, do more. Most importantly, please give us your comments. We appreciate them so much. And we do shows based on a lot of people's comments. So on Facebook, you can message me. You can go to psychedbymg.com and send me an email. But it's very, very important to us. So that being said, we covered that, Barbara.
Yes. Check.
Girl. I just want to sit here and laugh.
So do I.
I just
we can do two things. We can either sit here and laugh or sit here and cry. I choose to laugh. Crying ruins my makeup and my eyes get all swollen.
Honestly.
Oh man.
Oh my God. Speaking of swollen eyes, and I swear to God we will get to arguments. I said to my husband, there is something going on in this house. My eyes are killing me. They are watering terribly.
Yeah.
They're itching. Like something is wrong. I need a humidifier. Have we changed the humidifier filters? And he said, oh, we have to do that. I'm waiting for them to come in. It's been a couple of years. I went, oh my God. And then this morning he said, are you doing better? And I said, yeah, I can't believe the difference. He had forgotten to change the furnace filter for a year. Okay, talk about argument. I just took the island while I was standing there because I was suffering so much. And I'm like, what is wrong? Like something is, first I was attacking my body. Like I'm getting older and God, getting older sucks. And Jesus, what's going to happen next? I look like I'm crying all the time.
Oh my
I
God.
grabbed the island and was like, I go, are you effing kidding me? With all of our allergies that are so bad and COVID.
Girl.
My son had COVID, So I calmly, instead of telling him, because it is the week before Christmas, I said, I need you to get your phone out right now. And I need you to put an alarm on your phone for the furnace filter should be changed. Either that or I will take it on so that we do not miss that.
Right.
A flippin' effing freaking year.
I'm sorry, man. Like I said, I'll either cry or I'll laugh. So I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you, but I'm just laughing at just the stuff that can happen in a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My son is like, my eyes are itchy so bad. My daughter's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, and with Dad's, some of you, you hear this shit and they don't respond. They don't fucking respond. Like, hello? Why isn't your little brain going, okay, is it this? Is it that? Did I change this filter? They just.
No, most times it's, yeah, you're okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dad, this is all you okay. My kids know not to bother anymore. It's always mommy, because they know mommy will start looking. Dad, yeah, you're all right.
Oh.
Do you know once Shami broke? Okay, we're going to get to our show, guys. But once Shami broke she was on a scooter. I think she was 10 years old. And she fell off a scooter and she broke her arm. And she screamed in a way that only mothers know something is not right.
Yep.
Well, Dad runs out, brings her in. Great. And he's like, oh, no, looks like you're fine. There's no swelling. I don't think anything's broken. Well, wait. So the kid goes and does this on the table and she shrieks. I'm like, something is wrong. He's like, no, I don't think so. Maybe, just a sprain. I was like, let's go. I put her in the car. We went to the to urgent care.
Yeah.
The nearest urgent care. They did an x-ray. Guess what? Yep, there was a fracture. I got home. I was like,
you're dead meat.
It takes everything to just not, So I just had to breathe through it because I'm like, I'm going to hex somebody. I'm going to hex. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, but yeah. So by the time we got home, she was in a splint, of course, and everything. And so she was going to go to see a doctor,
yes.
The what you call these bone people,
yes.
to get a cast. Yeah. But suffice it to say, yeah, that's kind of Dad's for you. That's okay. It's a sprain. He's a physician, right? So you know. For me,
it wasn't good.
So of course my thing was, you see, you're just a plumber. That's all you do. Cardiologists, you don't know. Cardiologists are nothing but plumbers for all the piping that goes to the heart. Of course, you wouldn't know that a bone was broken. Yeah. So
So this is a good lead in on how to not kill your husband when they're not thinking things through. See, we're going to go right here for a minute. And we love you. We do love you. But when there is a conflict in the room, when there is a struggle, when there is a problem, and it has to do with the family, like at work, they'll go on.
Mm-hmm.
But when it has to do with the kids or the wife or the family, the house, they get so overwhelmed so quick. They have an automatic switch that they just disconnect.
Yeah, disengage. I was going to say, it's like they flip the disengage switch.
Yes, and they nod. That's what they do.
That absent-minded empty nod, I call it. It's like, yeah, mm-hmm, okay. And you're like, what did I just say? And it's like, what? Did you say something? And it's like, you just said, you just said yes. What?
And for women, we, especially after we become parents, we are so connected. We are the opposite. And so as soon as we even hear a sniffle, we're like, which one? Who did that? Wait, come here. What's going on?
Yep.
Allergies. We scan like a computer. We scan like this, or that.
Right.
And then what happens, and I really want men to hear this, is you exhaust her. You wear her out. And resentment can build, and exhaustion and fatigue,
Frustration.
That
memory that is like an elephant's kicks in, and all the other transgressions of the past come flooding in. So it just becomes one big old ball of mess.
Yes. And to our gay couples, like it when I did my app years ago, I said a female type or a male type. You know, I want you in this and hearing this, that it depends upon which one does that detachment. That detachment causes so many problems, and that fatigue and exhaustion over time causes passive aggressive jabs to one another, resentment to take over where love once lived,
withdrawal, withdrawal.
Disinterest. It is a slow terminal emotional cancer.
Yep.
And over time, if you don't treat it, it will kill that relationship. It's not okay. And on the feminine side, for the feminine types or females, it's important to hear that you have to, how do I want to put this? Because the responsibility truly, I'm not telling you it is all on you, but when he detaches like that, sit down, tell him to sit down, like Italians would say, siétate, sit down. And you know, I sometimes will do I got you with me here? You need to hear this, because I don't want to get resentful. This is what's going on. I need you to connect here. And then as a man or a masculine type, you need to connect. That is your responsibility if you don't want to wear her out. If you want her to desire you, if you want the abundance that female type can give you,
right,
you cannot wear her out. It's not a choice to be a grown-up.
No.
It is not a choice to be an adult. It is required. And it makes life so much freaking easier. When couples are in sessions with me, I say, what we're going to do is you're going to argue. It's a normal part of that relationship. I'm just going to teach you how to fight well and effectively. And I'm going to get you so efficient and proficient at arguing that it doesn't take very long.
Right.
And you have to understand what different types of arguments are.
Right.
Some are truly exhaustion and fatigue, and you're both weary and you're both going down, and you don't know how to be with each other when you're in that place. So couples will then scrap for attention and care and nurturance. And I have to say, no, there's a way to do it where you don't have to do that. I have such a great example that this one couple years and years ago, they had 4 kids. Both, that mom was a taxi cab driver, a cook. These kids were little. She was exhausted. He worked full time. He was exhausted. And they came home one night and both fatigued. And they had an argument over who was going to get dinner ready. And she had a kid that was sick at the time too. And they had a terrible fight. They fought, they slammed things. Kids were crying. It was bad. By the time they got to me, they weren't speaking. And I was listening to how they were arguing. And I said, you know, guys, how come you didn't just sit right down, even on the floor, and say, oh my gosh, we're both so fatigued. Let's order pizza.
Right?
But when you're in that fatigue and that exhaustion, you can't think well. You can't think well sometimes. And you just start, and unfortunately, your partner gets it. They get that fatigue. They get that, you know, you just dump on them. Well, I said to them, you needed to sit on the floor at that moment and take each other's hand and just go, oh my God, we're taking this out on each other. Like we're both just exhausted. What do we do? What can we do? Order a flippin' pizza.
Exactly.
And then just acknowledge with each other together how tired you are. And that, you know, we got to just not take personally right now what we're doing because we're just that exhausted.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting you say this, Mary Grace, because I'm listening to you. And so I'm listening to you, and then I'm bringing my sort of cultural perspective, my cultural lens, if you like. And I have to tell you, for a lot of people from the old world way of doing things, the idea that couples even argue, let alone argue in a way that the kids know there's an argument, is taboo almost. And so, for example, there's a lot of festering of negative emotions that go on because, especially once they're children, there's this idea that the kids cannot see us argue or the kids cannot hear us fight. I'll give you an example. In my entire time that my mom and dad were married, mind you, my dad died when I was 12, not one day ever did I ever hear them disagree, let alone argue, let alone, you know, argue loudly about anything.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the result of that for me in my marriage is that for a very long time, I did not express how I felt.
Like,
and I can tell you that on my husband's side, that was very much the same. Even when we talk about it, there was no fighting in their home. There was no arguing. And we would catch ourselves, especially after the kids, trying to work through something. And if voices started rising, they'd always be that, where are the kids? Like, and most times that would kill that conversation or that argument, but it would go unresolved.
Yep. Yep.
The result of that, as you know, is the buildup of resentment, the buildup of anger, the withdrawal from one another, each to their own camp.
Yes.
Because you start having these conversations in your head about what you really want to say to someone, and the other's doing the same. But when you come together, you're not really talking. You can talk about everything else, but you won't talk about that pink elephant in the room.
Yep. Yep.
And so in the end, there is a rift, and there comes this place where you're just coexisting.
Yeah.
And everything is centered around the kids.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the kids. We're preserving the peace for the kids. Before you know it, we're preserving the relationship for the kids. Question is, what happens when the kids go?
And do you have any idea how much pressure you're putting on the children?
And that is such a good point.
Because that.
They feel that. They know.
And then you're not
know everything.
And they're not seeing you guys model for them conflict resolution.
Exactly.
That conflicts can be resolved. Conflicts can bring you together. Conflicts can work out. You are not modeling how to handle your stress, the conflict, how to partner. You have to be able to model that for children.
Right.
It's important.
It's part of being human, and it doesn't destroy them in any way to see their parents argue at all. In fact, it is healthy for them to understand that people can actually argue or disagree to disagree, and that doesn't mean love gets withdrawn.
Yes.
Which is the opposite they learn when there is no conflict resolution, because when you're resentful and you're feeling some type of way, there's no love lost there. There's no love shown. And so what you're teaching them is that, well, you know what? If so-and-so expresses something they don't like, then it's okay to just pull away, not say anything, but withdraw love as well, because the space becomes really cold.
Yes, yes.
It's no longer warm.
That. The children feel, the people in the house feel that. We are not dumb. We are perceptive.
Right. And kids more so. Yeah.
and kids especially.
Yeah.
It is so, I've treated so many kids who will talk about that tension in the room.
And it makes them sick. This is where some of these anxieties come up from. This is where some eating disorders come from, because they don't know what's going on. They feel unhinged. And so with the eating disorders, it's now a desire to control something. Can't control their environment, but they can certainly control themselves and what goes on with their bodies, what they put. It really breeds a lot of terrible things when people don't know how to argue constructively.
Right.
You know, and part of it is, like Mary Grace says, I love the way this is, how to argue effectively, not how not to argue.
Right.
We're not negating arguing. We're literally saying arguing is essential to any normal relationship. The question is, how then do you do it?
How to do it.
Yeah.
It's so important. And, you know, in my culture, which is the opposite of your
I know. I love your culture though.
The one thing about
tomatoes
is that our problem is we can argue for everything. Like,
right.
We don't like the way you flip that freaking meat on the stove.
Right.
It's
like, why'd 3 hours argument over that.
Yeah, why'd you do that? Why'd you touch it? I'm cooking. What do you think? I can't cook? Why are you in my space? I don't want you in my space right now. You want to help? You got to go over there. And then the person will say, I don't know what to do over there. Well, you'll figure it out. My God, you got a brain, don't you? I mean, they talk in a very argumentative way. And
but sometimes it's not arguing. That's what I've learned. And that's why I love it so much, because it's all out there.
Yeah, it's all, and then it's over. The one beautiful thing in that system is, and then it's over and you move on to the next thing.
That's it.
And now to my Gumbadis, my Italian folk, what I would recommend though is, what we have to do in our culture is slow down a little bit, because some of the arguments wouldn't be there if you slow down on assumptions. Right. Because we're so expressive and reactionary that sometimes we don't take action. We are reacting constantly to things. Right. And if we slow down, you know, I was sharing my daughter, we all had a family meeting and we were all talking, and she's like, oh, why do we have to yell? I don't like to yell. Which her brother pointed out to her, he goes, you yell all the time. And she's like, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, well, first, I just started laughing. I said, your mother's 100% Italian. There is no flipping way we're not going to have yelling in this house. I said, we just got to be effective in the way that we yell. And we have to be able to hear each other through the yell. I said, second, if you don't yell, you will develop passive aggression. You will withhold love. You will use silence in a deadly way. And silence can be a highly manipulative thing that people do when they're upset.
Yep.
I think that's worse. I mean, when somebody's yelling, it's all out there. You can figure it out. You can look at it. But when you do the silent thing, everybody's spinning in their heads, in their thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're having their own conversations about what's going on, what could have gone on, what this person really meant, what that person must be thinking now. I mean, it's crazy making.
It really is. And I have heard some of the most, one story, I just think of it, was one of the harshest things of these two little kids, in which both parents did this silencing and icing thing. From the time they were born. And they had ended up both having social anxiety and just getting paralyzed and gripped with fear. And so the one person that I saw said, you don't understand, when there's a conflict at work, I have a panic attack. My body literally short circuits for me. And so I want to say to people, there's effective ways, and we're going to go over more tips on that. If you don't learn how to do that, your conflicts will take and control you versus you controlling your conflicts. Some of them, you're just tired and fatigued. You're exhausted. Others are old habits that have formed in that relationship, whether it's your partner, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a colleague. In order for it to work effectively, both people need to be open to wanting to get to resolution.
That's absolutely important.
The number one tip, because I had a few people these last couple of weeks say, well, I waited to talk about it till we got to the appointment because I didn't want to make a mistake. And I said, oh my God, that's your first freaking mistake. If you don't know what you're doing, say, I don't know what I'm doing. I just want it to be better. I don't know how to do this. I'm confused. Don't personalize my frustration right now. That is another tip. Everyone listen to me. Don't personalize each other's stuff. If someone is coming at you, you need to say to them, you're coming at me. I don't want to get defensive. I want to be able to hear you. Are you truly angry at me, or have you had a hard day? Did something happen at work? Something happen with the kids? Did you get in a fight with your friend? You have to begin to steer, because that person who's coming is not okay. They
Right.
really aren't okay. So you got to give them their innocence back a bit. And you can steer it. You don't just become a vessel to swallow it all.
No,
that's
not what that's about. Exactly.
And so you want to say, whoa, slow down. I want to be able to hear you. Sit down. Tell me what's going on. And to say to them, don't personalize it. Ask them to slow down, especially men. Listen to me. I'm gonna teach you something. Women, because of our hormones, our progesterone especially, when we are in distress, we are sent to the word center of our brain. Our progesterone takes us to the word center of our brain. And so the way we handle the fatigue and the stress is we use our words. We start coming with words. Men in that situation, they were geared to be protectors. They're more attached to their physical bodies because of their testosterone. For men, their testosterone keeps them in that physical body. And so hear me clearly. Men are more sensitive emotionally from a physiological standpoint.
Right.
Which means when you are coming with your words, their body is overwhelmed immediately and short-circuiting.
Yeah.
And then when you men pull back and are short-circuiting, she feels that disconnect. She doesn't feel validated, and she ramps up her words. She becomes, what I say, we use our machine gun of words. Boom, 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 boom. And we get faster and faster and faster if we don't feel heard or validated. And we're not doing it to hurt you. It's because our anxiety is going through the roof. And for men, and I am not talking about narcissistic men right now. I'm talking about men who just get paralyzed by a woman who comes at them. And so for women, I want you to understand that when you get intense, sit down, take a breath, try to slow the words down. If I can freaking do it, this Italian New York girl who has learned how to do it, because the way when I met my husband, I don't know how he survived, because he is from the West Coast and they are German, Italian, or Irish descent. They don't fight. They don't have conflicts. And I used to just sit at them all heated. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down, because it is so important that you understand you want to create the best environment to hear each other.
That's it. So
when you sit and you say, I am upset, I need you to hear me. Men or male types, they're looking for validation. They're wound up. Don't fix their problems. Don't jump in with all these opinions. Don't start judging. Don't overanalyze what they're sharing.
Do you know, it's so funny you say that, Mary Grace, because I'm listening to you and I'm like, everything you're saying literally goes against many people's wiring in terms of model of relationship they've seen. You're talking about, slow down, sit down, and say the appropriate words being, you know what, I'm overwhelmed right now. I need you to hear me.
Yes.
Ain't nobody doing that, girl.
I know.
Everybody's going at each other. And of course, like you say, the more he withdraws, the more she comes, the more aggressive she gets because she's getting sick of what looks like passive aggressivity. Because I'll tell you something about me. If I want to have a conversation and you act like you're passive aggressive, it sends me, I lose it because I can't stand that. That's why we have people like you to come to. And I understand the woman who said, look, I'm not saying a word until we get there. Because if I open my mouth now, we won't go. Because who knows what's going to come out. So I understand her kind of wisdom in saying, let's get to the office, because so many people don't have these communication tools that you're trying to teach.
They don't.
And in the heat of the moment, I think people should, here's a tip. I think people should have practice sessions of this stuff when all is well and say, honey, let's practice having a productive argument. Because in the heat of the moment, Mary Grace, can I permission to be vulnerable and honest here?
Yeah.
I know that I've had moments where I know exactly what it is, the right thing I should be saying, but my programmed self will override that.
Yep.
Because I want blood at that time, right?
Yep.
So I'm not about to play nicey. I know what I should be saying. I feel that, I feel this, and my brain overrides that stuff, all that good stuff, and goes to you did this, and because that's really how I feel. And it's like I can't bring myself to play the nicey. So maybe one thing you could do is,
and that's when it builds. This is what's so important to hear, especially for younger couples. That I've done the same thing, Barbara. I don't think there's a woman around that doesn't lose her shit because of resentment, doesn't lose her shit because of bad habits in a relationship, doesn't lose her shit because she is over functioning and she is resentful and pissed.
Right.
And doesn't, for the man, he's like, why does she just come at me and beat me up? And he loses his shit. I mean, it's patterns that have been there, and they are not going to change overnight. If you don't do something different, it won't change at all.
Right.
And I tell couples, you're going to yell. That's not the problem. It's how you yell. It's how you do it. You got to be able to say, I'm fatigued. Last night, was it last night? I think it was, or this morning. I don't even know what time it is anymore. I got really pissed off. I can't even remember what it was about. And I came in and my husband had made dinner. Oh, I had a long day. I had so many clients and I had so many phone calls because it's that time.
Right.
And I came downstairs and I opened up the oven and I said, why are you broiling that chicken? Just like that. Why are you broiling the chicken? You're going to dry it out. Now the guy has the table set. He's making all the food. And do I walk in and say, oh, wow, this is great? Oh, God, no. I'm fucking tired. What the hell are you broiling the chicken for? You're going to dry it out. And so he said to me, I wanted to crisp it up a little. I said, you can't crisp it up. You don't have any coating on it. I mean, be careful. You want it moist. So he snaps back at me, right? Then I can't remember what else happened. I snapped again. I was just not having it. I said, listen, I said to him, look, who's the cook in the house? Who's the cook? You got to be able to take some feedback and some criticism on this guy. Because you're not the cook. You don't know everything, I told him. Okay, I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. But can I control being wrong? No! I'm so freaking tired. Now, I know at some point an apology's got to come.
Yeah.
I'm sitting, and then my daughter, I snapped at my daughter, my son, and my husband.
about it
He
yesterday.
said, we all start eating. He waits till I get some food in me, some protein. He said, you okay? I kind of smiled. I go, I think I'm stressed. He goes, you think you're stressed? And I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's another key.
Yes.
You can fuck up.
Yeah.
The apology is so important, and authentically, and you grab it as soon as you can.
And we will fuck up, guys, okay? I don't know where you are. I just feel like there's somebody sitting there going, oh, no. Well, you know what? You will. If you haven't done it already, then you will.
And no, I'm sorry, but.
Yeah.
Do not do the I'm sorry, but if you didn't do this, then that is not an apology. It's just
actually that's an insult for someone like me. Because once you come at me like that, then it's all, you know what? It's like kid gloves off, okay? Truth. Because it's like, wow, no.
Yes.
You better be, it's best if you hadn't said anything at all than to give me the I'm sorry, but I can't deal with that.
Apologize when you can be authentic, truly, and it changes the dynamic. You don't want the person that you're struggling with to go into defense mode if you really need them to hear you. They want you to have your wants and your needs cared for. They don't want to be attacked.
That's it.
Now, sometimes when people are arguing, they'll do the hot potato game, which is the yes, but you did this. Well, I didn't do that until you did this. So that's why
I'm very familiar with that. No, it's not my MO. It's not my MO, but you know, I'm acquainted with people who are very good at that.
And all couples will do that at some point, and some just do it more than others. If you hear yourself doing that, first of all, take a breath. If you hear yourself doing any of these things, just breathe and don't beat yourself up, because we've all done this stuff.
Hold on at some point.
Every single thing I'm identifying right now, I'm guilty of it, and I will do it in the future. The key is to be able to catch it and own it. I've said to my husband one time, I was going off. I said, I can hear it. I can hear myself. I'm too intense right now. I can hear it. I said, I can't stop it, but I can hear it. And he started to laugh. He goes, well, as long as you hear it. And what I did was, instead of going at him and attacking him, I shifted it and said, I'm aware.
And own it. Yeah.
But I'm not in good control. But I want you to know I got it. I've got the issue. Then he gets to go, oh, good. Okay, now I don't have to defend myself.
There we go.
And
the other thing too is I love this conversation, Mary Grace, because one of the things that always comes into my mind, and I remember early on in my marriage, by the way, we just celebrated 23 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Yes, 23 years and counting. Oh, you did. We did just last week, 13th of December was our anniversary.
October 11th.
Right. And so one of the things that I recall, and this used to make me so mad when I was younger, is this idea of, do you want peace or do you want to be right? Oh, I hated that. Because you know what? I want to be right. You know what I'm saying? I want to be right. I want us to be in a situation where I can go, yes, told you so. But what I learned about that is, it didn't really get me what I wanted.
That's just it, because ultimately you want to connect.
Yeah, it didn't get me what I wanted very quickly. It again, it's those situations that breed resentment and that causes the other to withdraw.
Yeah.
And so in the end, you're sitting over there with your I am right sign, kind of by yourself. And it's not really fun, because now you can't play with the person. Do you know what I mean? You can't play with the person you've made feel bad. So it's like, arguing effectively, being, I think over the years, the main thing that has grown for me is compassion for the other, and a deeper understanding that, my God, we're all human and we are all so flawed. So flawed. Will we argue? Yes, we will. Will we disagree? Yes, we will. Will we mess up big time? But in looking at someone else's foibles and weaknesses, are you able to have that deep compassion for the human that they are? Not necessarily, and that's where the depersonalization of stuff comes in so important. Because for me, as long as I personalized everything, you did that to me, you hurt me, you did me. It has a charge around it that makes it so much more difficult to have that compassion. But when you kind of step back from the me, and you look at the person and their personal struggles with whatever it is that's going on, the approach is more gentle. The approach becomes more compassionate. And yes, you happen to have been the person in the way and got hurt, but it could have been someone else. There's just somebody, another human, who's just trying to make it on these streets. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
So you're able to see and say, you know what? Yeah, I've been hurt, but yes, I can forgive. And yes, I can have the compassion for that human weakness.
Yes.
So,
and if you're the one that hurt them, apologize.
Exactly. That's the thing. But you know what? I'm interested to know. I've found in my own personal walk and in walking with other women and talking, it seems we have an easier time apologizing than men do.
And now I want to speak to the men.
Is it an ego thing? What is it, Mary Grace?
Yes. I need you guys to take a breath, because there is no perfection. You are vulnerable, whether you like it or not. You make mistakes. I spend so much time with men in my practice, getting them comfortable making mistakes. And understanding the connection of how they freeze and get paralyzed when a mistake is present and they don't move forward. That they're not going to get beat up. They're not going to be abandoned if there's a mistake there. And if you are with a narcissistic woman who would do that, let her go.
Yep.
If you can't be vulnerable and make mistakes, and I would say to you, welcome to humanity, then you need to see that in your partner if they don't allow it. And if they just attack, abuse, that's not a good relationship. Right. So saying I'm sorry, it's hard the first few times, but keep doing it and it will get easier and easier. And you need to mean it. You need to go, man, I screwed up right there. I'm really sorry. I didn't, I see what you're saying. Maybe you didn't see it in the moment, and you say that too. Own your apology, own your mistake. Say the words, I don't know what to do right now to make this better.
And that's actually the part that for me is very important. Your I'm sorry is incomplete if it doesn't have the, can I make this right?
Yes, I'm stuck. I don't know how to move us forward. I can see we're going back and forth and we're not going anywhere. My husband and I used to have a saying, if he got triggered or I got triggered where we were just spinning, wait a minute, you're coming at me. I'm on your team. Don't forget that.
That's so important. Team. That is so important.
Hold it. Wait a minute. I want to hear you. It's not that I don't care. I don't know how to move us forward. And then both can breathe and go, we're stuck. We're just stuck.
Right.
Okay. If you are a hot-tempered person and you tend to hit walls or throw things or things like that, you got to get control of your shit, dude. Or woman. There are women like this.
Oh, yeah.
Where I say your impulsivity is so out of control that you got to get a hold of it. You got to go for the walk. If you're in an argument and you think you're going to just start getting verbally abusive and attacking, you say, look, I got to breathe first. Let me go for a walk. Let me go outside. Let me calm down. I promise I'll come back in an hour.
And I think that's a noble way of doing things. I think that's really noble. And again, for those who are concerned about the children, if you really care about your children, then you don't want them to see something ugly. Do take that walk. Do say, I need a timeout. And if you're a partner of somebody who has a short circuit like temper like that, you want to not then go in their face to go, yeah, we're talking now. We're going to have this argument now. Because I know some people like that. Don't do that. Don't poke the bear. Let the bear exit. Let the bear take a walk in the snow, get some fresh air, listen to some birds singing, and then let him come back and then calmly deal with the situation. I think adulting is not easy, Mary Grace, let me tell you.
Yep.
And a lot of the impulses that come up in our relationships as adults are literally impulses that I've seen in 2 and 3-year-olds. And when you see them totally unhinged and uncontrolled there, and you kind of imagine what you must sound like or look like when you're in your element, it's kind of a moment of like, have we really grown up or have we not grown up? Because part of adulting is being able to resolve these conflicts in a manner that allows you to move forward. These marriages that fall apart, these relationships that fall apart, sometimes are falling apart literally because people just do not have the skills to argue and argue constructively.
Yes.
Because we're all on this planet. The way I look at it is this, Mary Grace. And this is a conclusion I came to at some point in my own walk, which is this: look, if it's not going to be worked out with him, then it's going to need to be worked out with someone else. So you got a choice. You can learn the lessons here and now.
That's right.
Or just go repeat it someone else, and still have to do this work. You know what I mean? My point being this: anything that you refuse to look at in yourself and work on to become better, to become a better partner, to become a better mom, to become a better friend, to become a better colleague, all these things, let me just tell you, your moving job is not going to take that away. Your changing marriage or partner is not going to take that away. Your kids growing up and leaving the house, or you leaving them that's not going to take those things away. You will at some point have to face your nemesis. You will at some point have to face those things about yourself as a human that need to grow, that need to change and transform.
That's right.
It is what it is.
That's right. You will, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
Your behavior patterns, if you don't, that old freaking saying, if you forget the past, you're bound to repeat it.
That's it.
And you have to understand you are in the middle of it. You have to look at yourself. You have to change in yourself. There was a woman that I worked with. She was a pistol, very ethnic. And she was saying, I'm dating again. And, I'm not going to do that crap where I get to know him slow. And I'm just going to say, I'm not doing all the communicating stuff. I'm just going to meet him. And I thought, oh, here she goes again. I said, yeah. I said, you're going to repeat the same shit that you always repeat. You try to rush things. You do not like time. And your impulsivity is out of control. What are you afraid of if it goes slow? Go slow. Get to know the person. A relationship is a honeymoon period of 3 to 6 months before the real person shows up.
That's it.
Whether you speed her up or not.
Well, that's the thing though, Mary Grace. I mean, I think sometimes, and I don't mean to knock any celebrities. Sorry, celebs, if you're out there.
Oh.
But when I look at some of these celebrity relationships, I'm like, some of it is so infantile, it's not even funny. It's literally 6 months to a year, it's done next. 6 months to a year. I'm like, you're in these serial marriages. Why bother? Why bother? Then the alimony lawsuits, and you're losing all of this money, dude. You're just sharing out your money. It's so much. Yeah, but it is that. Some people are in love with being in love. Yeah. Some people are in love with that honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And I tell you, as soon as it's done and the real person shows up, they're like, oh no, I didn't want you. I kind of like the facade. Bye.
Right.
Next.
That's right.
And you've got these people who get serially into these marriages. The next thing you know, some people, I guess, are in love with the weddings too, because the weddings are just obscene. And it's like dude,
said, it's juvenile.
I promised myself I'm doing one wedding in my entire life. That was it. That stuff was so stressful. I was like, never. No, and I vowed. I was like, in my life, never. I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
And it's 23 years down the line, and I still maintain that stuff is for the birds.
Yeah.
It's too much work, too much stress, too many corsets.
Constantly Constantly starting over, wondering why you're not finishing the race.
Right. Exactly.
Go back to the finish line.
Right.
So for people listening, get comfortable with being messy. You're going to make mistakes. Practice saying, I don't know what I'm doing. Practice saying, I know I'm coming at you. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I apologize. We're on the same team. If you're the listener and somebody is losing it, you say, we're on the same team. I want to hear you. Men, I want to hear you. Can you slow down, please? My husband got to the point, because I talk so fast, that he would say, stop, I got to get a notebook. And then he put up his hand, he goes, stop, I need to think. And I was totally okay with that. I knew that I talked fast when we first started out. I've changed because I've been in the Midwest so long now. But I have. I mean, I go home and I'm like, oh my God.
To the Midwest. Oh, that's so funny.
Well, when I go home and I'm around my cousins, I'm like, holy shit, will we stop interrupting each other? Like, I don't even know who's talking at this point. And we can say, back, where I come from, we can tell someone to shut up. If you don't tell someone to shut up, you're not going to be able to talk.
That's it.
Period. That's how it is. It's not an offensive thing.
Right.
When I get to the Midwest, I have to watch things. Will you please shut up? I gotta say something, because it's like you shot up. You can't.
Yeah, and actually you're like even using the word shut up, like so if you were this is Midwest, right? You can imagine that in a kind of British or whatever setting, which is kind of my background also, or even culturally, to tell someone to shut up.
It is the most and
you spend 20 minutes going to someone, excuse me. Yeah.
Will you shut the hell up? I gotta say something. What the hell?
You can't do that. That would be considered. Oh my God! Like she's so. Oh, that would be like
she is so offensive.
So rude. Exactly.
I remember going home when I first moved here, saying to my friends, they don't say shut up, and them saying, what, are you freaking kidding me? What do you mean they don't say shut up? I said, you cannot say shut up. When you come visit me, do not tell anyone to shut up. I said, I silenced a room. And I didn't know what the hell I did. I had no idea what I did. And I said, don't interrupt. You watch your interruptions. They're like, are you? I said, and you don't pass people, because when you drive, you know how on the highway you merge because there's construction coming?
Right.
Well, where I come from, you ride that right until you have to merge. Well, here, the sign will say, merge in
2 miles. You better make sure you get into position, right? Yeah, because otherwise nobody's going to let you through. And I had to learn that the hard way too.
I was like, what the fetcher? You're gonna ride like this for the next 3 freaking miles, one single lane when we got 2 lanes until we get to the construction.
Oh yeah, you get into position here in the Midwest, okay, honey? Because you can spend 5 hours parked at that little spot waiting to get through, and every sucker who drives past you gives you that look that says, yeah, you thought you were smart. And they won't let you in. They will not let you through.
Yeah,
unless you and then
it's so funny. And I had my friend Lucy. I know if you're listening, she's like 5 foot, straight off the boat of Italy. Her parents, she was born in Italy, and she came to visit me. And she looks up and she goes, "What are they doing?" I said, "They're getting over early." Why are they doing that? Like, they can't do that. Why would they do that? And I said, it's just something that they do there. So I started laughing because I could see her blood pressure. She's like, no, like, and she unrolls the window. I go, you can't do that either. What the hell are you doing? She's got her hands in the air. What are you doing? Like, what are you flipping me off? Use the lane. Then I knew it was coming.
I love Italians. Oh my God.
Mary Grace, go on the side of the road, past these people. I said, Lucy,
we don't do that here.
They don't do that. And, you know, we drove in the 80s. Like, you did some stupid shit when you drove in the 80s. Okay. Yeah, I said, I need you to breathe. She goes, breathe? She goes, for God's sakes, I'm stressed out. She goes, what the hell's the matter with these people? I said,
oh my God.
We got a 4-hour drive up north. You got
well, we've got 5 minutes, Mary Grace.
I know. But people, okay. So hopefully there's some tips here, you know, for men. Please listen. Validate her reality. She will calm down for you. She will begin to decompress and she will feel heard. She needs to feel heard. For men, slow down these words, women. I know the intensity. And if you are needing to vent and you are passionate about it, you've got to say to him, listen, I'm just frustrated. Don't take this personally. I'm not.
Oh, go find a girlfriend and vent first. How about that? I find that works. I go to my girlfriends.
Barbara.
I vent. We vent. We bitch. And then I calm down.
Yes.
And then I'm in myself again. And then we can go and have that constructive argument that we're supposed to be having. Yes. Sometimes it really helps to have girlfriends to go and vent to.
Because then you can men need to understand our thoughts get clear when we're using our words. So we talk out loud our thoughts so that we can see them and get clear. Women, you need to understand that men go inside, they gain their clarity, and then they speak. Most men do that. And so if you get yourself to pull back and get quiet and give him the quiet to think it through, he will speak up. I'm not talking about narcissism right now. He will speak up. Also, if he is in distress, it isn't even a conflict between the two of you, they calm immediately when you grab their hand.
Physical touch, yeah.
This is not sex, people. This is
just physical touch. It's human touch. Yeah.
They need that reassurance to just hold their hand or grab their shoulder as they're talking. And you will see them breathe. Men, if we're mad, we're not going to do that touch very well. A lot of women have a hard time with that. You know, you can ask her, say, you know, do you mind if I hold your hand? And then they'll stop and they'll reorient, and some will say, yeah, I can do that now. I can say, yeah, take my hand. And sometimes I'm like, oh no, not yet. I'm too.
But just don't do it spontaneously, guys, just because that's what you like. Because your hand's gonna get slapped away, or you can get, you know, don't do that. Don't do that.
It disrupts our thought process. It disrupts where that progesterone and that estrogen is taking us. And so we get aggravated. We will let the physical come into our space after we decompress.
That's it.
These are, in closing, these are differences, people. Sometimes we take differences, different styles of coping, and we personalize them. And we say, they're attacking us. They don't care. They're abandoning us. In reality, no. People have different my husband is a passive-aggressive type. I'm extremely direct. He has had to learn to be more forward. I have had to learn to pull back and give him space to think and to talk. You ebb and you flow. So really begin to take a look at the differences. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. You've got to get your brain to pull back on that adrenaline rush when you are upset. Say, I want to hear you. I'm struggling. I'm tired myself. I know I'm not doing a good job at listening. I'm here. And then also If you're both burned out, coordinate care. There are many, many parents right now of young people that I have in practice that I have said this to. I said, look, you both can be burned out. But say, listen, we're both burned out. We're coming at each other. We're both tired and we're both important. Let's just coordinate a schedule so you can get some time and I can get some time. And let the community in.
That's it.
Even if it's virtual, let it in. Call the girlfriend, Zoom, Skype, get it out. Get one babysitter that you trust. Do the COVID thing with, because you need support. So I think, oh, wow, we're really, we've got 1 minute left.
Oh, wow.
I hope these tips really help people right now, because the next few months is usually when we see the most arguing. Oh, if you've been drinking, not a time to talk. If you've been drugging, drinking, whatever, smoking pot, whatever, it is not a time to talk and get to resolution. Talk the next day. On that note, we're gonna stop. And again, please give us your comments. And if you have any ideas or questions from what we've talked about, you can message us. And know that we care and we really want to hear it. Please hit like and subscribe to the different sites. We appreciate it. Well, Barbara.
Well, guys, thank you so much. You guys have a fantastic weekend ahead, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time, guys. Take good care of yourselves. See Matt's head bobbing.